Good day to all my fellow marks out there, and welcome to the wacky and wild world of professional wrestling, the only form of entertainment where the most dominant and menacing faction are dressed in fresh Hanes white t-shirts. Grab yourself a drink and a snack, kick your feet up and relax. You are now listening to the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 21 of the Groupchat Wrestling Podcast. I am anchoring tonight in the absence of Mike, so pressure is on. I am Wrestling Mark, and you can find me on Blue Sky on that kind of name. And yeah, I will be moving on to our first guest today, who is making their debut on the podcast. So, Lucy, over to you.
Hello, I'm waving, but you can't see me. I am just Lucy. You can find me on Blue Sky and currently on Twitter, however long that lasts, I'm not sure. And I'm most excited for the part where we all list our favourite things about Brandon Cutler. I said I can fill about an hour, but then you might need to jump in. I'm kidding, you don't need to jump in.
It's good to have you with us, Lucy. Yeah, thanks for joining. Yeah, I'm Dan, Dan Well KC on Blue Sky. That's pretty much all I use now. Great show last night.
Yeah, and I'm Andy. The show was class. That's all I have to say.
That ball bro here. Find me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I was there last night. Amazing show. I mean, it was an oddly amazing show for a company that's just gonna disappear all of a sudden. That's cold as hell. But for what it's worth, yeah, amazing show last night.
Can I say I thought it was the most unique pay-per-view they've done this year in terms of the structuring. It was every other pay-per-view, they don't follow obviously a set running order exactly, but to go from a shows usually have 2 or 3 gimmick matches, a few multi-man matches, to have a card of 9 matches, 8 singles matches, and those 8 singles matches to be in a row was definitely a unique experience for AEW pay-per-views.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. But Brett, obviously, I was going to ask you, what was the vibe like in the building? Obviously, give us the first person perspective from when you were there.
I thought it was a very, very positive, I think from the very beginning, from 0 hour, the crowd was very into it. I think it was a very, very great atmosphere last night. I mean, I'm sure we'll go into it when we start talking about the zero hour, but I don't know. I felt like there was a more, despite what you hear from the doom and gloom actors, on social media, that it's the worst that is 2019 WWE as far as AEW goes. No, I think the crowd I think was in high spirits last night, and we're ready for a great show.
And anyone comparing that to 2019 WWE, go and watch Stomping Grounds 2019. Go and watch literally every pay-per-view they did that year, and find literally any show with any match as good as anything we saw last night. It's just the brazen nature of the lies and the bad mouthing is insane. Because the one thing I say is there was not a bad match at all last night.
Brett, I have 2 questions. First, was David Arquette anywhere in the building? Did you see him?
You know what? There were a couple instances where I was standing online for merch. I was like, "Is that him?" But
yes, it
was. I can't confirm or deny. So that's my answer.
I'm not going to elaborate, but it was. I don't want to die. And also, how over was the Rizzler?
Man, listen, we joke in the chat about Rizzler over the Miz, Rizzler over certain wrestlers. That kid is fucking. I don't know how it came over on YouTube or wherever you're watching.
No, it was the same, man. I couldn't believe it.
Yo, listen. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm sure maybe you guys are. Maybe people listening had the same thought process as me. When this got announced, over a month ago, I didn't really care for it that much. I was like, what's this dumb shit that they're doing? But the past few weeks and now being there live for the Rizzler, for Big AJ and Big Justice, dude, I'm fucking into it, dude. Those kids, then Big AJ, they're fucking great.
It's one of them for me, because I don't really get the whole humor, the whole sort of content style doesn't really work for me. But it's clearly popular. It's clearly drawing insane social media numbers, and it's done them a hell of a lot of publicity. They've done AJ alone has done a lot more promo for the pay-per-view than a lot of other wrestlers have. So
he's very good at it as well, though. He's such a pro. Like,
he's very old school, isn't he? Like, he's got that.
yeah,
He's got that sort of demeanor about him. Like, he clearly respects business. Like, he understands like that side of it. But because he's quite a big social media personality, and the other two are as well, he's managed to sort of marry them both in a way that actually, really worked out. And I again, like a month ago, if you asked me like about the match, like I wouldn't have cared, but I actually decided to just watch it with an open mind, and actually I was very entertained by it.
same,
Largely in part by QT as well, because I think he was a perfect opponent for him. But
QT was brilliant.
He's
QT
very
was
good.
brilliant.
He's a hell of a job.
Exactly. But
the thing with I think it was Matt Cardona. It said on Twitter, like, talking about AJ, he said the man's a pro. He said within a minute he mentioned the venue, the date, and the opponents, all in one promo seamlessly, and he did. He was very good. Like, and as you said, it was really entertaining. I was actually really gripped, and I didn't expect to be.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I've said before, whether it's AEW, WWE, it doesn't, like, whichever wrestling promotion you watch. Like, I feel today, like, you need more wholesome content like that, and it's kind of cool, like seeing father with his kid, do this stuff in the ring involved in wrestling, and whatever the relationship with the Rizzler is. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of cool seeing him walk down to the ring, make his face and gestures with freaking the Big Show walking him down to the ring. I don't know. That was then like the camera cuts to him like sitting at the timekeeper's table, like ready to ring the bell. Like, I don't know, the crowd popped. The crowd kept popping every time he kept showing up on the screen, and it's something you like. I mean, yeah, you guys enjoyed like watching, but when you're there in person, like it's a weird feeling. Like, yeah, I get it. I understand it. I'm like, like that interest, that sort of entertainment that they do, whatever they do in Costco. Like, yeah, it's not my cup of tea, but I mean, it works. It has an audience. I mean, it's gotten a ton of good publicity. And I mean, listen, if TK is smart, like he will sign these guys to an exclusive deal, like whether it's events or promotion or whatever. But yeah, and like you said. And like you said, real quick, we got to give QT his flowers, man. I mean, he was the perfect opponent for Big AJ. Like he
was
made
the brainchild behind the whole thing, wasn't he? He instigated the whole thing, didn't he?
Yeah, apparently so.
Apparently so, and by all accounts, like you bang on the money there. Like, because clearly this has done well for them, as for both parties, for both AEW and for them. And if they're smart, like they will like definitely like work together again into doing some kind of like more kind of collaborations. It's clearly really over with a portion of like non-wrestling fans who probably passively tuned into the pay-per-view. So it's clearly in both parties' best interest to kind of keep going. There's a lot of crossover potential, isn't there? So,
and it made 0 Hour really interesting, because otherwise I might have skipped 0 Hour. And because I didn't skip 0 Hour, I got to see that 4-way, which was a fucking great match.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Quality. It was quality, wasn't it? Like, Buddy Matthews is just a fucking beast.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that's why they put that match on. People tuning in just to see AJ and QT. Then you throw in the crazy flippy shit big guy match, and they'll think,
I know.
This might be worth sticking around for.
100%. And then
sandwiched in between that and the Outrunners.
Yeah.
But the big thing
Did
again.
They show the entrances?
Yeah, they did. The entrances were on the 0 Hour, weren't they? Like it kind of cut just before the pay-per-view started. So it was great. It was really well done, actually. So you had, like you say, you had the 4-way with Commander doing his crazy shit, Buddy Matthews just being over as fuck, and then obviously the big Costco match, which everyone was gripped for, just to watch the Rizzler stroke his chin, and then straight into these all the entrances from the Outrunners, House of Black's entrance, which is class as well, Acclaimed, and Private Party, and then it was like, yeah, if you want to watch the rest, put the money down.
They did that at All In, didn't they? They had the entrances for the opening tag match before they went to the pay-per-view, didn't they?
Yes. They did, yeah.
It's a good idea.
That's why Christian's theme was playing for about 4 minutes when we were there live. They were waiting to just cut to the live feed.
I don't know because you were there as well, Brett. Whether you've seen the sorry to jump ahead, but whether you've seen the Outrunners new entrance video.
Yeah, I did.
It's fucking brilliant. I love it. A filter and a fucking 4:3 aspect ratio. It's class.
That was cheap. A nice touch, wasn't it?
It was. It was really good.
That was good, but also I'm glad with Private Party's entrance. They I don't know, like they finally realized, yeah, let's give them the old theme back. They gave them back the shots theme back, which is way better entrance. Crowd's way more into it. Yeah, but no, the Outrunners entrance was fucking brilliant.
It was a pre-show that really served the perfect pre-show purpose as well. Like everything about it, you got a really. I mean, the only thing is Anna Jay v Diona. I didn't know that match was happening. The only way I found out is I saw on Blue Sky. Someone said, "Oh, this is happening now," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know the pre-show was on this early," which is a bit annoying.
I thought that was shy, to be honest. It was a really sloppy match.
Was it? All right. I mean,
that was the one thing I wanted to complain about.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was a lot of sloppiness in it. Like it was, I don't know. Yeah,
it's annoying because Anna Jay's been on a really good run lately.
She has been, and her match with the matches with Mariah were fantastic. I don't know. Maybe it's just that Deonna works like a different style to like the Mariah. She's been in Anna Jay's been in Japan like most of this year, or a good chunk of it at least. So Deonna probably, to me, it seems like she works kind of like a bit of a slower pace. Like she's a bit more methodical, more mat based, and I think Anna is more suited to a more like faster pace, if you like. But I didn't think it was bad. I mean, I clearly think both women like have capable of doing like better matches. It's just I don't think it was as bad as I wouldn't go as far as saying it was shit, but it was just a bit put together, you know.
I would. I hate saying that because I don't. You know, it's hard, like, you know, what they do, but I thought it was shit. It was just very.
The positive takeaway. Again, I'll reiterate this. The positive takeaway for me, the most notable bit of the pre-show was, I mean, I'm a big Buddy Matthews fan, and the reaction he got from the crowd post-match was really, that was, pay attention to this, Tony, because people fucking like this dude. The minute I saw him again at Super Showdown in Australia when he won the Cruiserweight title, I was like, okay, his physique, his look, the pace of him, everything, his impact, his selling, this is a star here. And now I'm really hoping Brody's over. Malachi seems to have really mend fences with AEW. There's a lot in the House of Black at the moment. I really hope, if it's doing single stuff, I want Buddy Matthews in the C2. Yeah. If it's doing single stuff or as a trios, there's a lot of goodwill and a lot of momentum behind them as faces at the moment. Julia Hart's going to come back too. They're going to be getting, again, for a company that apparently is cold and people aren't getting reactions, they're getting fucking good reactions. And when Julia Hart comes back, they're going to get better reactions. So
he was loving it as well.
This is the most momentum they've had in AEW.
You know what?
Loving it as well, wasn't he?
You know what?
He was really soaking it in. Sorry, mate. Go on.
I was going to say, I hope that there's two that, you know, capitalize on the House of Black's momentum by putting them in the trios match with Bosco guys. It'll do major numbers.
My only negative to the whole House of Black thing at the moment, like you've just said, they're doing great faces, but now Julia's coming back, and it seems like she's going to be feuding with Jamie Hayter, who is one of the biggest faces in the company. So, like, what the fuck is going to happen there? Like,
no, I think if you're smart, I mean, it depends on Buddy's schedule, because I want him in the C2 personally, but
same.
I did see he's he's wrestling in Melbourne in December, so I don't know whether he's gonna be a part of the field. But either way, I remember calling this a few months ago. Have him win a singles title at Grand Slam Australia, like just do it, just strap him up.
Him v Takeshita would be fucking brilliant.
Yeah, have him win the international title.
Or depending on what I said when we spoke about this a few months ago, give me Buddy against Kenny.
Oh,
if Kenny's fit, give me Buddy Kenny. That would just kill, because
just really quick before we move into pay-per-view, just like that trios match that the Elite and the House of Black had, that one pay-per-view. I think it was Revolution in 2022 or something.
And Revolution last year, 2023.
2023. Sorry, my mistake. Every time Buddy and Kenny like shook it up in the ring, it was magic. Like they just gelled so well. Like Buddy Matthews, like he's a brick shit house, but he moved he moved quicker than Dante Martin, and that's saying something.
Yeah.
And like Kenny is the best. like Kenny's arguably like the best worker in the world, and them two when they were in, I was just there like, yeah, fuck me, I need a singles match between these two.
Definitely need just book it if you want to sell tickets for Grand Slam. Kenny Omega, Buddy Matthew.
On that note, shall we get on to or into the main card then, as we've got 9 matches to run through?
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, just with the tag match like that entrance for the House of Black, we mentioned it already, but can we give a shout out to fucking Dead Body? Like, because they're fucking hard as fuck. And I'm a big hardcore fan, so I was gassed when they actually had a live band playing.
The fucking cracking entrance.
Yeah, man.
That's what you want to do. Like I say, if you want to lure people in from the Riz, that's what you got to do.
Or riffs in this case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So after the cracking entrances, we then got on to the pay-per-view section of the pay-per-view. And yeah, starting off with the only non-singles match of the night, the obviously 4-way tag title match. I thought it served a purpose. I thought it was okay. I wouldn't watch it back. I thought Private Party were going to win, and they did. Yeah, the Acclaim teased more. Max Caster was fucking annoying, and yeah, that was kind of it. Outrunners on pay-per-view was great to see. I was delighted to see them get that moment on pay-per-view. Long may it continue. Let's keep building them up, slowly building them up clearly for a tag title run at some point next year. So yeah, you guys, what do you think?
For me, the tag match was, again, yeah, it was a good choice of an opener. I think it was the right call. But to me, well, I was expecting a bit more, to be honest. I thought that all 4 teams were capable of doing a lot more. It felt quite a bit rushed, in my opinion. But every time the Outrunners and the House of Black were actually involved, the crowd was reacting. Every time Private Party and the Acclaimed were, apart from Bowens, they were just half as loud. I don't know if that was the same when, like live in person, Brett, but it's clearly that the Outrunners and the House of Black are operating on like a whole new level compared to the Acclaimed and Private Party. I didn't think Private Party were going to lose, especially this early. They've only had the titles for like 3 weeks and they haven't defended them yet. So this was their first defense. So, I mean, yeah, every time the Outrunners and the House of Black got in, I was more interested. I didn't think it was bad. It was just kind of fine, and we was more of a closer sort of edge towards the eventual Acclaim split, which I think it's about time, because the scissor thing has just run its course, man. Like, I'm just not interested in it at the moment.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I think with it being Private Party's first defense, it didn't really feel like it was about them. The crowd was more into the Outrunners, House of Black, or whether the Acclaimed were going to split. And I get why they're doing that. The tag team division needs some stories, and it feels like it really, really did start off a lot of new stories there. But I would have liked to see Private Party featured a little bit more. I knew they were going to win, but Buddy Matthews winning earlier on, I almost bet that Kings of the Black Throne might do it, might have them all win on the night. But yeah, I think we knew Private Party was going to win. I would have liked to see them featured just a little bit more. I do think with the Acclaim splitting, the spot that they did with Caster telling Anthony Bowens to pin him, the fight to the New Age Outlaws, the New Day kind of thing, it felt to me like Max is trying to drag Bowens down with him. Like, make him the bad guy, get him booed as well. He's the only one, but I don't know.
I mean, the one thing you brought up there that I couldn't agree more with is Private Party felt like the least important cog in this wheel in their first title defense. The Outrunners are the big shiny new thing. House of Black are really over at the moment, and then you're teasing the split between the Acclaim. So it's never a good thing when there's 4 teams involved in a match and your champions feel the least relevant to the occasion.
I thought that I agree with what you're saying there, but I don't think there was much else they could do, because you can't take the tag titles off Private Party yet. It's too soon. I mean, as much as I want the Outrunners to win, it would be a bit of a slap in the face taking them off them so quickly. So I think there wasn't much else they could do, but I actually really enjoyed this. It wasn't a 4 or 5 star match, but it did what it was supposed to do. We got the Outrunners on the first pay-per-view, and they were over as fuck. We got the House of Black just showing a bit more of what they can do, and the main thing we got out of this was the Acclaim stuff. And you say at the start there that, Bowens were great, Caster not. I thought Caster was the best in the match, to be honest. I thought Caster worked the match perfectly. He did everything that we needed from that. He was responsible for every reaction that he got, that Bowens got over. He was setting up things perfectly to get Bowens, for Bowens to react and to make it look like he's being a dick purposely. And it was great. I actually thought he played that perfectly, to be honest. I don't think he could have done much more. And I'm actually really looking forward to where it's going. I still think they both turn. I still think it's going to be one of them where they both turn and beat the shit out of Billy Gunn. And I hope that's the case. But we'll see. But I'm excited to see what happens after that. And like I say, I actually enjoyed the match for what it was.
Can I just jump in quickly? It's the rarity here. I'm going to disagree with Dan on something, because I actually think this match, in the exact format that they had in the structure of it, I think its placement as the opener was detrimental to it. I really think the pacing and both matches would have really benefited more if we swapped positions with this match and Takeshi v Ricochet, had them open it up at a faster pace than they gave us, and then had this later on just to break up run of relentless singles matches. And I think even this exact match as it was, being that kind of respite from what we were getting, would have really benefited it from because the general perception was it wasn't criticised, but it was kind of just thinking, yeah, it happened, it's cool, move on. And I feel that this exact match later in the card would have been perceived a lot more positively by people if it wasn't the opener.
I think there's just not much more they could have done with it. It was, you're stuck in this position where Private Party have the titles and they've only had them a month. There's no realistic expectation that they were going to drop them as much as we want the Outrunners to win. But the only reason I agree with it being the first match on the card, I do agree with what you say there, that maybe the Takeshita one would have been a good swap. But I think coming off the immense popularity of the Rizzler, being able to show 4 entrances,
that's a good
4
point.
teams entering was probably more of a thing than just being able to show Takeshita and Ricochet.
Yeah, good point. Brett, how was it received live?
Yeah, everything is spot on. Like, I don't think, to no fault of their own, like Private Party, they didn't seem like, out of the 4 teams, you could say maybe they were the 4th most important team in the match, but I don't think that's a problem necessarily when you consider that you could tell that the I would say the mission of the match was to further push the split of the eventual split of the Acclaim. Mission accomplished on that. It's the Outrunners' first pay-per-view match. Like this is easily the biggest stage that they've ever been on in front of 10,000 people. If you had any questions whether they were over or not, well, your questions have been answered. And then I think with the House of Black, they're also feeding off of the energy from Buddy getting the win on the pre-show also. And like you said, it looks like Malachi, whether it's personal stuff or health wise, it looks like he's 100% bought in. He's all in. It looks like he's ready to go. I think he's gonna have a good 2025. And Brody King, I mean, is Brody King. So you're always gonna pop for him. But obviously too soon for Private Party to lose the belts. I mean, at the end of the match, even walked around, they still got a good reaction leaving the match. But we saw the story unfold, with Caster just being a dick from the entrance, from the rap during the match, just the tagging himself in, which ultimately cost him the match. But I think for the goals that were in the match, I think it accomplished what it had to, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. I think we've kind of wrapped that up pretty nicely. On to the next match. This match felt like the definitive second match on the card match, and it was MJF beating Roderick Strong. Again, I actually thought this match was just heating up. I was starting to really get into it, and then it finished, which is annoying because I thought I spent the first 10 minutes looking at the spots on MJF's back and wondering why he hadn't tanned his back as well as he had his front. But then when the match got going, I thought it was starting to really hit a good pace. And I mean, how long did it? It went on for 13 minutes, but it didn't actually feel that long to me. And just as things were getting going, MJF won. It was quite a nice slick ending, and inevitable MJF won. A bit surprising, maybe there weren't some more shenanigans in this one.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, but I really enjoyed it actually. I thought MJF was really like finding his groove, and then yeah, you could see they were just trying to sort of, you know, they probably just knew that they had like limited time, so they just tried to get as much stuff in as possible that would feel like kind of logical to the match, I suppose. I mean, Roderick Strong's a pro; like he can go with pretty much anybody. And I fucking love MJF. I think he's a genius at what he does. But yeah, like I couldn't stop looking at his hair. To be honest, it looked like it was just like more, like out of control than it than ever before, really. But yeah, it's, you know, MJF playing the heel like to perfection, as we know you can do, was really great to see. Um, so yeah, again, I was half expecting like some more stuff in the post match. I was convinced that we were going to get like Cole just, you know, costing Roddy the match, or Kyle, you know, costing Roddy the match accidentally, or just something else, you know, about 40 different possible scenarios. But yeah, so clearly they're dragging this out, which I can't say I'm too enthused about it, because I just want heel better than you, baby. Want that more than anything, because the whole
same.
Adam Cole babyface run has just been a bit botched. It feels really forced. Because we know he's a good heel. And I know that this story's been talked about to death, and it's all really awkward because of all the injuries and everything like that. It just feels like I just want to move on now. If you're not going to move on, put them together. Um, However you get there is a mystery to me. But I'm not a booker, so it probably wouldn't make sense if I. But hey ho, you know, the match was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. What else to say, really?
Hey,
Over
is
to
it
you,
me now?
Lucy. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it is. I absolutely agree. MJF, I think, is one of, if you wanted to tell me he's one of the best character wrestlers of all time, I wouldn't argue. Just the way that when the crowd started chanting, "He's our scumbag," he just grabbed the microphone, went for a really cheapy diss the local sports team. I don't know if in the arena it worked as well as it sounded on TV, but it sounded like he just got a lot of heat there. I love the match. It was exactly my sort of style. I love Roderick Strong. I will claim to my dying day that Adam Cole is not the babyface in this feud. He's not. He is absolutely the bad guy. He is going to turn on Kyle. I think that's where they're going. Kyle calls out Adam Cole. Adam gaslights Kyle the way he often does, and eventually we get Adam Cole versus Kyle, and that's how we get back to feel better than you, baby. But yeah, I'd like to know if the crowd in the arena turned on MJF.
He's very good at doing that when the crowd, because the crowd, he is over as fuck, so the crowd do naturally cheer him. But he's very good at coming up with something, or managing to turn the tide a little bit. And I loved his comments about shooting movies while Roddy's mum's shooting his dad. That was excellent.
It's fucking brutal.
And the match itself, I don't feel like MGF is such an underrated in-ring wrestler as well.
Yeah,
I don't think he got out of second gear. I thought Roddy reminds me a lot of Dean Malenko. I don't know if it's his size or what, but
yeah, overly, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So I love the fact that he was using the clover leaf. That was a great little nod. And the commentators made the point of, this was one of Dean Malenko's signatures. I thought it was a very good match. It was just below being really good. It just kind of, neither of them got into fourth gear really. But it did what it was supposed to. Again, another one. MJF picks up the win, cowardly heel, and we set up whatever's happening next. All I want for Christmas is better than you, baby, heel. So give me that, and I'll be happy. However we get that, I agree that Cole is the fucking heel in all this. He's the bad guy. He's the reason MJF is like he is now. And if we get a better than you, baby, where they both don't trust each other, I think that would be. I honestly think it would be compelling TV, as much as people disagree with me. And it would give Kyle O'Reilly something to sink his teeth into, rather than just, as much as I love it, rather than just pulling faces behind Mark Briscoe.
I think taking it into consideration, we obviously were wondering would Adam Cole do anything last night, but again, it's quite poetic if we do the full 1 year thing. It all started at Wells End, didn't it? That's when he turned on him.
Yes,
that's when they reunite.
It's a good point. That I like that.
Yeah,
They make
it
sense.
does
It's like,
seem. Yeah.
I like that symmetrical stuff. I like those kind of things when they put them in place like that. So let's say that what some match is going to happen there with everyone, and it will end with Adam Cole and MJF on the same side as a couple of bad bastards
Doing double clotheslines every week. Give me that.
And again, Brett, how was that one received inside the arena?
I mean, yeah. Before the match even started, like this son of a bitch, Max. Like, I'm in Hollywood shooting movies. Your mom shooting your
Great.
dad. I was like, oh yeah, that shit went over well. That got the reaction that MJF was hoping for. Like son of a bitch. God damn. But yeah, I would say yeah. The match was good. Like it was just a tick below. I'd say very good or great. Like I think Dan said like I think like right before it felt like they were about to shift into another gear, like the match just ended. But that's MJF working on the arm, so the wrestler he is, like he finds a weakness, he's gonna exploit it, and that's what he did. And yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if this goes if this story concludes at World's End, with like you said, Better Than You, baby. We get that tag team going into 2025, where it's a kind of an uneasy tension where they don't trust each other, but they work together for whatever greater good goals that they have. But yeah, I think it was a good match by the numbers. I mean, the fact that there's any discourse about MJF whether he's a good wrestler or not is kind of ridiculous. I feel it's beyond forced, and
It's incredible.
yeah, it just needs to stop and go away.
If we do get
Anybody who has a problem with MJF wrestling can go and write an essay on Twitter.
Well, they probably already have. So, but
I wouldn't know.
But one thing on the tag team, sorry, if we get Better Than You, baby, as heels, that I feel like it would work. Like was when MJF and Jericho were teaming up for a short while, and they were they would be like, oh yeah, great, together, and as they would kind of separate, they'd be like, fucking dickhead, as they walked off. I feel like that would be great for Cole and MJF to be like, oh yeah, buddy, let's work together, and then both looking over each other's shoulders, just refusing to accept that the other one might be not ready to stab them in the back.
And again, just adds this tag team division that were really criticised about 6 to 8 weeks ago. Suddenly, the Bucks will come back and hopefully they're rejuvenated. FTR, Private Party have been elevated. Outrunners are more over than they've ever been. Kings of the Black Throne are getting fucking great reactions if we get Buddy going off and doing his single stuff. If we're getting Better Than You, baby back together, that's something else. Aussie Open, I'm imagining sooner rather than later we'll be back together. Suddenly this division looks probably stronger than it ever has done.
Yeah. You don't need
really
them. That's why I said they never needed the Motor City Machine Guns. Like, they never needed them. Like, they've got the tag teams. Yeah. They've got the tag teams. It's a division that you've got to put some effort in and build it. And the way it's going, it clearly seems that Tony's taken notice of a lot of the valid criticism. And yeah, hopefully we start to see some more teams bolstered and they become like more of a staple in 2025.
It's quite funny, isn't it? On the tag team thing, the tag team division seems to have improved as the trios has just stagnated.
It's always fluctuating them, so they never get the kind of balance it doesn't seem.
No, it's mad, isn't it? Because that's what killed the tag team division, and now it's kind of going the other way around. Now, I mean, like I totally forgot the trios that was a thing. Because the Death Riders have got it and they just do nothing with it at all.
Right. Anyway, on to match 3 and. Well, what a match. If it wasn't for Ospreay and Fletcher doing what they did, it would have definitely been match of the night. Well, probably, arguably match of the night. Mercedes retains against Chris Statlander, and this was everything that I wanted it to be and more for numerous reasons. The main reason to shut people the fuck up who criticise Mercedes after a couple of underwhelming matches against Britt and Shida. We now look at her portfolio of 2025, 2024 even, and we see the matches against Stephanie, we've got the matches against Willow, we've got the Dynamite match against Shida, which was great, and now this. And again, people now just realise she is that good in the ring. Chris Statlander is that good in the ring. This match should have banged. This match did bang. I want to see these two fight lots more times over the years. I felt the winner was, again, quite obvious, but it didn't take away from what was a really decisive victory for Mercedes. Very clean, no shenanigans. She just won. She's the best. I love her, and I'm really happy that this match was as good as it was.
Yeah, I echo that. I mean, largely because the build was really poor, in my opinion, because of the whole Statlander random face turn. So it felt really just
Yeah.
off kilter to me, and I couldn't really get that into it. But despite that, they turned up. I knew they would. I knew because most women in the division have their best match in AEW against Chris Statlander, and we know that she's an absolute like machine. Like she's on the upper echelons of that division. Mercedes is Mercedes. Like it's like we know she can like put on a fantastic match with the right kind of opponents and everything like that. And yeah, if this is the first of like a trilogy or however many matches, then yeah, I'm all for it. I'm glad she won clean. I'm glad there wasn't any kind of shenanigans. I was convinced that there was going to be some kind of Camille interference, which would like derail and backfire. And to be quite frank, I did bite nearly once. I really thought Stat was going to win like once, twice. So that had me a bit on the edge of my seat. Like I was really, really invested. But the fact that Mercedes won keeps the TBS title reign going. And yeah, she can shut up all of her haters can like literally just shut up now because like they haven't got a leg to stand on. Like she's the best women's wrestler in the world, probably next to Jamie Hayter for me. And yeah, not much else needs to be said. And by the way, if you haven't watched the media scrum, she was fucking fantastic. She was in character. She was just dissing all of the reporters. It was unreal. Like she's an absolute pro. Like hats off. And I hope that we start to see some kind of bit more like logic going into the whole kind of Camille split angle. Because again, it felt a bit rushed. Like I don't like the way that they've built Camille now. Like she's just playing very much second fiddle. Like she had all of her sort of momentum kind of derailed a bit. I hope that they sort of build that back up in the next few weeks, whilst Mercedes is still having killer matches. Yeah, no, if it wasn't for Ospreay Fletcher, this would have been my match of the night, personally.
Agreed. I think what you said about Mercedes really showing everyone what she can do, that for me makes it my match of the night. Not necessarily just for the wrestling, but just because it's the one I enjoyed the most. This is exactly what I've wanted to see from Mercedes ever since day one when she came to AEW, and I finally got it. I did think Chris might win it, but yeah, I think it was right to leave it on Mercedes because I think it's probably going to be Willow now that she's back. Willow might be the one to take it from her. I was hoping it would go over 20 minutes, be the first women's match to do it, but didn't quite make it. But the time they did have, they absolutely made the most of it. Mercedes going after Chris's knee, almost in a panic, like when she couldn't get Chris to stay down, and then she was like biting her knee. She almost went feral attacking her. It made Chris look so strong.
It was.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. It was like, oh, God, she's really good. And Mercedes almost panicked and just really, really upped their game. So, yeah, I absolutely love that match.
It's a very quick bit on there.
It was a clean win.
It's fucking inexplicable that no women's match has gone 20 minutes in AEW. That's shambolic.
Is that a thing then? Like, I didn't realize that's like really none have gone 20 minutes. I
saw that mentioned on the old socials the other day.
Insane.
Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah, this was 19 minutes and something. If you count the entrances, it was over 20. Nope, they've never done it. And considering the talent that they've got there.
Yeah, it's inexcusable, really.
Yeah. Fucking hell, that's nuts. I loved it. I thought it was great. I still disagree with the suggestion that Mercedes' other matches have been bad. As I've said to you before, I think the match with Britt wasn't actually that bad. The crowd was just shit, and if you watch it with the sound off, on reflection, it's actually all right. You know, it's quite good. Not amazing, but it's good. I think she's just that she is that good, like you say. I don't think she has a bad match with anybody. Even her bad matches are actually good.
Yeah,
this was excellent. This wasn't just a good match. This was phenomenal. And it's probably one of the. It's at least, without looking too deep into it, it's instantly at least top 4 women's matches AEW have ever had for me. It could be higher if I really put some effort into thinking about it. And as Dan said, I'm in agreement. I think Mercedes is the best women's wrestler in the world. I think along with Jamie Hayter. And as I've said on this numerous times, give me the dream match. The match that when Mercedes left WWE, I was like, yes, we're going to get it. The match I want, give me Jamie Hayter, Mercedes. I don't care how you do it. Give me.
That's a world
give me
title match. That's not a TNT.
It has
That's
to,
not a TBS.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah.
I'm with Lucy. I think that Willow gets the win back. I think that's going to be a Willow and Mercedes can go for the next 3-4 years, fighting once or twice a year, coming back to each other. I think Hayter Mercedes. That's a headline title match.
Has to be. That's got a main event to pay per view.
Yeah, like, that's a main event of a pay per view. Yeah,
I want. Sorry, go on.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't mind Mercedes losing sooner rather than later. Not this month, but I wouldn't. I would like to see Hayter and Mercedes for the world title main event within the next 10 months. Simply because you strike while the iron's hot. Hayter's got injury issues. Mercedes is always going to be lured by the opportunity. She's obviously got in her contract she can film and stuff because that's a big thing for her, and I completely respect that, taking that career path. I don't think you think, oh, that's 18 months down the line. There's a few matches. There's Athena Hayter. There's Athena Mercedes. There's Mercedes Hayter. Those matches there, I want to see them in high-profile spots before this time next year.
Yeah, we have to, and not only that, but they should be the first ones to actually fully main event a pay per view. And what I want with Mercedes, I want Mercedes to lose to. I want Hayter to lose, and I want maybe a bit of shenanigans, whatever. But I want her to lose, and then I want her to go over Mercedes clean. And if you time that when Mercedes is going to go off and film something or whatever, brilliant. I don't care, but that should main event a pay per view, preferably one over here.
Let it be for the women's title Forbidden Door next year over here.
Yeah.
Do
it because Wembley was robbed from her with the injury, so fucking do it.
That's the main event Forbidden Door, and I would want to see that more than most matches. So
no, I was just going to say, and on the Camille thing, they've shit the bed with that anyway, so I have no idea how they can repair that because they're losing so quickly to Statlander. Completely destroyed any fucking credibility, and it wasn't even like a big match. I think we said this last week. It was just a match on Dynamite, so any aura that they would have had with it is gone. So for me, I think the best way they could build it up now is just to be. Maybe have a match with Mercedes beats it, and then build it back up in Ring of Honor somehow because you can't do anything else with it.
No.
So I just want to really jump in really quickly about how you get the title off Mercedes and you give her the world title. So what I would do now, building off this program with Statlander, is maybe at Revolution, he loses the TBS title in a triple threat involving Willow and Statlander. Because there's a story to tell there as well. Willow wins, then Mercedes does whatever. She wins the world title off of Oni Storm, perhaps at like Dynasty or Double or Nothing or something, and then you do the match with Jamie at Forbidden Door in London. And that's where she loses, and then you do the big rematch at All in Texas, where Jamie wins. That's, to me, just feels like the most logical timeline at which you can do it.
So you'd have Jamie lose. You'd have Jamie lose in
Think of the heat Mercedes would get.
I think we're getting Athena Mercedes at All In.
I think
true.
I think
that's I think want to see then as well because
Jamie wins Forbidden Door. Move on to that.
Yeah,
sorry, Michael.
Listen, like it's already written in the stars. Like if you remember the press conference for All In Texas a couple months ago, it was not an accident that Mercedes and Athena were there. So, and I'm gonna call this right now that should be your first women's main event of a pay per view: Athena versus Mercedes for the TBS title in Texas. Like, I think that's the way to go. I think you could have Mercedes win that match. I mean, it will get great heat on her for beating Athena in her hometown. And then the very next month, you have Forbidden Door in London. Boom, you have Mercedes versus Hayter right there, with Hayter going over, like, in front of her home crowd. I think that would be dope. But in regards to the match, real quick, like, shout out to my boy Abe, who does the Holy Shit podcast. We do the post Dynamite recap shows every week. I said about this match, like, this was the get right match for Mercedes. This match was gonna shut up all the haters, all the naysayers, the detractors who say that she doesn't have it anymore, she can't go and everything. This should shut up all those detractors because I mean, like I said, this for some people, this is some people's match of the night. Like this is the type of match that you were expecting of Mercedes when she first signed with AEW. But and speaking on that, like Chris Statlander, like I'll say this right now. You guys tell me whether you agree or not. Chris Statlander is the ace of the women's division in AEW because in her 6-year tenure in that company, you can make a list of women who have had their best matches in AEW. What is the correlation? It's been with Chris Statlander. I mean, how many women can thank Statlander for their best match? Like she can mesh with anyone, big, small, strong, powerful, whatever. Like, I mean, yeah, Mercedes is great, but I mean, having Statlander, as a dance partner, like doesn't help you. Like, I mean, doesn't hurt you from putting on, maybe arguably I'd say top 2, top 3 women's match in AEW history. And yeah, like what a lot of people don't understand also, like a lot of people don't look at these wrestlers as professional athletes. They don't realize that Mercedes is still less than a year removed from ankle surgery, that an ankle injury that could have ended her career. So yeah, she's been cleared since March, but her body and is getting more acclimated to the ring. She's getting more comfortable. She's having better matches as of the past couple months. So now I think this match is going to propel her to a great 2025, in which she's going to have a string of just awesome matches going forward. But yeah, like I just said, I think the move to make I don't mind the idea at Revolution you get a 3-way between Mercedes, Stat, and Willow. Have Mercedes retain, because that's what the heels do in triple threats. They'll she'll capitalize on some mishap between Stat and Willow, but the move is all in Athena and Mercedes. That's your main event for the women.
Right, I'll say one thing that will encapsulate what you were trying to say there. Chris Statlander got a good match out of Jade.
Yeah,
it was. That's because it was 5 seconds.
Think about it. Like
she did. She's the only one who did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jade's last match in AEW was her best match, and let's be honest, like she's not going to come anywhere close to that match in WWE. I mean, let's just face it. We'll see how the WrestleMania match between her and Bianca is next year. But yeah, every woman who has had a match with Statlander can make the argument that that's been their best match.
Yeah.
In that company, so I think she is the ace of AEW. I mean, like Stat can do no wrong, but I mean the match was just great. I mean, from start to finish. But as maybe we'll get a 20-minute match next year. But it felt like 20 minutes to me watching it there.
It did, like, man. I agree. Yeah.
They had me for a second. The last couple minutes, I was like, "Oh shit, is Stat gonna win tonight?" Like they had me. I mean, and goddamn, she's a fucking powerhouse. Like Mercedes jumping off the top rope, double knees. Like, well, she was spamming the same match the whole match, but like she jumps off the top rope and Stat catches her and turns into a damn like gorilla press slam. Is fucking beast mode.
You know what really worked in that match for me as well, that really added to it? Towards the end, some of the moves weren't hit really clean. They were a little slightly off, and that felt realer. It added more realism to it. Yeah, it did, because you're not going to hit everything perfectly and catch them perfectly every time. It was slightly off, and it really did add to the realism. It was great, man.
CM Punk, John Cena, Money in the Bank 2011 had like 4 or 5 of those kind of spots, and it did add to the occasion because of the intensity, because of the rivalry, because of the hatred. It did make the match feel a lot realer and a lot more gritty, and it probably added to that match being like that rarity that was given 5 stars by Meltzer, because it adds something to the occasion when it just makes it feel that little bit more real.
What do we reckon Meltzer's going to give this? Bear in mind it's a women's match, so take
4.25.
He'll be giving 4.5.
It's going to be a 4.95 because he's an asshole.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be 475 because he personally fucking hates me.
Yeah.
It's not just you, he just hates women.
Yeah. Don't take it
That's fine.
take it personally as a gender. Don't take it personally on yourself. He really doesn't like women.
No, he doesn't. At
And
some
I'm sure women
point.
don't particularly like him that much. But
It's
anyway, someone women do
I
like.
know a few that like Meltzer, but yeah, he can get in the fucking bin when it comes to women's matches.
It's true, but it's quite funny because on the scrum, I'd really recommend watching it. MVP answered a question about
That was great, man.
from Wrestling Observer Radio, and he says, "No, we don't entertain questions from that nerd." Next question, it was genius.
I love that.
He's so good. Anyway,
oh shit, wrestling tonight? Any MVP? Is it tonight? MVP?
Yeah, he's playing Bloodsport.
Oh, I'll put that on later. Yeah, sorry.
I had a good segue there to the next match, and it's gone now. So thanks a fucking lot. But anyway, next match.
Rewind. Go again.
I can't remember what it was now. It was good in the moment, but it's completely gone now.
Dave Meltzer hates women. Go.
Dave Meltzer hates women. I tell you, that's what it was. Dave Meltzer hates women, and women probably hate Dave Meltzer. I tell you who women don't hate, and that's Hangman Adam Page. And his match with Jay White was one of the best matches of the night, probably. I genuinely spent 6 or 7 minutes of that on my balcony watching two pissheads batter each other outside, probably swinging for it. And I didn't want to rewind the match, so I did miss probably about minute 6 to about minute 13. Then I caught the last 6, 7 minutes, and it's Hangman Adam Page and Jay White. It's always going to be good, isn't it? They're two of the best in-ring wrestlers in the world. It was good fun. Decisive win again for Jay White. They both move on to different things, I think, now. Hangman doesn't get hurt in defeat because he's just so fucking cool. Nothing can ever hurt Hangman Adam Page. If Chris Statlander is the ace of the women's division, he is the ace of the men's division. Still a day oneer, a legend. Love him. Great match. Jay White, the right winner. Let's see where he goes from here.
Before you crack on, Dan, and how many stars for the two fellas fighting in the streets?
It felt real, so I'm going to give it a 3.75, but I'm going to knock some off because there wasn't a decisive winner, and they walked off together as friends. So it
they didn't do any Spanish flies,
basically.
Yeah, it wasn't in the Tokyo Dome, was it? So
I was going to say
it was weird. They were
more
swinging.
Omega.
They were clearly some kind of friends. I don't want to make assumptions they were crackheads, but they probably were. But then after they dusted themselves down, they just wandered off together, but sort of not together in the same direction. And they went off, which I assume they would, out of sight to my right-hand side, where about a mile down the road is one of the worst estates in London, where there's lots of crack houses. So I assume they probably just went there and had a fun night together.
And then Joey Janela went to GCW.
But yeah, anyway, I agree with what you said, Mark. Like, Jay White and Hangman are two of the best wrestlers in the world. In a roster so stacked as AEW's, it can be quite hard to stick out, and they both do to me. Again, we saw from their Wrestle Dream match that they just have great chemistry. Like, I mean, I still think about that buckshot reversal, but this time they topped it. The buckshot reversal this time around was just a beauty, because the Blade Runner is one of those moves where he can hit you in like a split second, and that's what I love about Jay White. He's really calculating. Like, even though he's a babyface, he still wrestles like a heel. I love it. Fantastic. I thought it was better than their Wrestle Dream match. Personally, they just gel so well. I still think they should have done a stipulation match to this one. Just make it like Fall Count Anywhere or something, just to add a bit of spice to the feud. But yeah, you're right. It does seem like they are sort of moving in a slightly different direction now. I still think their paths will intersect over the next few months, given what happened after the main event. But that's not to say that I wouldn't. Well, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to watching them again and again and again. But yeah, fantastic, love it. I'm glad Jay White won. I was thinking Hangman would win, but because he lost at Wrestle Dream. But I'm still happy that Jay White won. I think Hangman can take a loss. He can afford to take a loss now, because he's just very mentally unstable, and it's just going to make him more insane. Whereas Jay White, I think a loss would have set him down a peg. So I think the win's done him the world of good, and yeah, really, really excited to see where they go next.
You're completely right about Hangman not losing anything from losing the match, especially what we saw later on in the night when he came out. It just made him seem more desperate when he helped Christian. Jay White's Blade Runner, absolutely fantastic. I can't remember, I don't think I've ever kicked out of that. I want to say Kenny maybe, but I might be remembering wrong. But I'm going to break a stereotype here that all nice girls love a cowboy. I am very, very much team Hangman did many things wrong. To me, he is absolutely the bad guy in all this. He even scares John Moxley. So I was absolutely cheering for Jay. Yeah, I was cheering for Jay White. Always will. But I had no idea who was actually going to win it. It was the one match of the night that I didn't even try to make a prediction for because I didn't have a clue. And they're both so similar. They were even both working leg injuries. It was all going to come down to who hit their finisher, I think. The main thing I came away with is Hangman going to be suspended for thumping Christopher Daniels? So, and I would also like to know who the crowd was behind, because I heard cowboy shit chants as much as I heard Jay White. So again, I don't really know who was the babyface there, but I loved the match. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, is he going to be suspended?
He could be, That's a good shout. The same as what you guys have said. It was a great match. Two of the best to do it. Hangman's for me, he's the main character in AEW since that loss to Jericho all the way through, and I really hope Kenny comes back and gives his head a wobble and we get him on our side again. But who knows? It's so good. His acting is phenomenal because he gives off this real kind of like conflicted vibe, and the look on his face is like. When he does some of these things, it's like, oh fuck, why have I just done that? Kind of look, and he did that to at the end as well, which I'm sure we'll get onto with the main events fallout. And yeah, great. There's not really much more to add to that. Kind of quite quick, excellent match. Two of the best to do it, and yeah, and a clean finish as well. And Hangman just cannot hit the what's it called on him? My mind's gone blank.
Shot lariat.
He can't hit the buckshot on it at all, and that's probably going to play in down the line that Jay White's always got his number with her.
Can I quickly jump in and say, if we do think that the Elite are coming back soon, is that they suspend Hangman, the Elite come back and then bring him back? Because they fired him in the first. They fired Penny, who were going to suspend Hangman in the first place. Is that how we get the Elite back together?
I don't know. It's you see, I'm one of these. I've said before. A lot of people say, "No, we need to use this to build young stars." I personally, I don't fucking care about their age of these people. Just give me good guy elites. Good guys elite to go up against these, bastards, and I'll be happy. I just want Hangman at the front of all this with Kenny.
For me, to answer your question, Lucy, I do think that this all ends with Hangman winning the world title off Mox. I don't think that they did that shot. I don't think that they did that closing shot and one of the closing shots with Hangman and Mox in the ring later on for no reason. To me, it feels like this is the end game. We're quite a few months away from that materializing. Like I personally would like to see this build over a really long period of time. Basically, just having Mox and the Death Riders just killing AEW until it's basically on its dying breath, and the only people who can save it are either the Elite as a reunited quartet. But personally, I think you need to have Hangman mend that relationship with Swerve. You need to have them put aside their
100%.
differences in order to save AEW. But also you have to throw in Eddie Kingston, Bryan Danielson, because I don't care what anybody says. I don't believe that he's fully retired. I just don't.
Yeah,
exactly. Eddie's due back in like the springtime. He's got a story to tell with Mox.
Dan, what are you talking about? Bryan Danielson said he's retired. This is professional wrestling. When do professional wrestlers lie about retiring?
I've never believed the word Bryan Danielson's ever said to anybody. Like,
was he wearing a salmon-colored suit?
Lie.
Was he wearing a salmon-colored suit when he said it?
No, he was in his hot tub. He changed his hair. That to me says, I can't trust this guy for anything. No, yeah, that's where I think we go with this. I think at Blood and Guts we get some form of Hangman and Swerve on the good guys team, maybe with like Kenny and like two other baby faces, or maybe just the Buck. And then Mox and Death Riders. I think Mox adds to the Death Riders like over the next few months. Um, we'll talk about that later, I'm sure. But yeah, I think you need to have basically AEW being miserable for like the next 6 months at least. Just lose all hope.
Right, on to my match of the night. Yet another match in year contender for Will Ospreay. It was, I mean, Dave Meltzer gave Fletcher and Ospreay's match on a random Dynamite back in early spring 5 stars, so fuck knows what he's going to give this one. But yeah, again, it was the right decision, I think. The right man won. Carl Fletcher is on a very rapid ascendancy at the moment. It's quite exciting to see. He looks the part. He's now playing the part. Great win, great match. Really, really good match.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, I had high expectations for this match, and they still blew me away. Definitely the right call to have Fletcher win. He needed the win more than Ospreay. If he'd have lost, it would have killed all of his momentum. They're clearly building him up for some kind of big role at Grand Slam Australia. I think we're going to see him rise and rise until like whenever it is, February, March next year. He's going to have some big part to play. Yeah, the fucking tombstone on the stairs, man. Like that just really like made me wince. But fuck knows, like how Kyle gets to Grand Slam. I don't know. I don't care. Like I'm all in on him being a singles like star at the moment. I still do think we get Davis turning on Ospreay at some point. I thought it would happen during or after this match, but clearly I was mistaken. They're going to let that bubble for a little bit. It seems. So
Can I jump in?
Fuck no.
Can I jump in quickly here? Like, I agree. Like Fletcher is going to again. He clearly is future world champion material. The one thing I say is he's 25 years old at the moment. There is a very, very deep queue in front of him for singles gold and for those slots.
Yeah,
I think the position at Grand Slam is Aussie Open winning the tag titles. I think there's a year or so in them as another run. Because being honest, when they do split up, you worry for what's going to happen with Davis, if I'm being honest.
It's true. He's injury prone.
I just don't see where there's a position for him. I believe that they will want... I think Fletcher will still want to have that moment. I can see them having a big moment, probably beating the people that beat Private Party or something, because it's still, 4 months away, or 3 months away. There's still a lot of things to be done between now and then. But I think they win the titles of the Hill Tag Team. I think they have a decent run for a while. And then, he's 25 years old, isn't he? So when he's 28, 27, 28, that's when you pull the trigger on him. I think there's legs to run in a tag run for him still, just so he's not lost in that really, really impressive shuffle.
Yeah, man. Like, but I mean, we'll fix that bridge when we come to it. But I'm fucking sold on Kyle at the moment. Like, he's fucking killing it. Love to see him. Maybe in the C2. I'd love for him to have a good run in that. Not win it, but I'd love to see him just get more of his momentum, like mixing it up with some big stars and everything like that. But yeah, no, the match was comfortably match of the night, like insane stuff again and again and again. Ospreay's having one of the best years in any wrestler in AEW, I think. So yeah, I will definitely rewatch this again.
Yeah, there's not much else I can add really. What can you say? It was phenomenal. It was a career-defining moment for Kyle. Ospreay's probably the best active wrestler in the world. So I think if you didn't like the match, I don't know, pet a dog, have a biscuit, maybe try a cocaine habit, because fuck all else will make you happy. It was absolutely brilliant. And can I just say how gorgeous Ospreay's Punisher gear was?
I know.
It was great, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was beautiful. He hasn't worn the Assassin's Creed jacket since they announced the game was delayed, and I want to believe it's because he's spoken. But yeah, that Punisher, the whole entrance was brilliant.
It was great. That as soon as he come out with that, I was like, "Oh, that's class."
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I was just going to say, I would love to see them meet again in the C2.
For me on this, I'll be very quick. It was phenomenal. Probably Meltzer's going to give it 5 stars, and it would deserve it. And it's mad because when you're going to do match of the year, you probably pick out 5 people's matches, 5 matches of the year, and then you'll have to pick out 10 of Ospreay's matches to add to the list because every single pay-per-view, Ospreay has a potential match of the year. And it's just ridiculous. I don't ever remember a wrestler ever having a run like this. It's insane. Like, in fact, it's not just every match the guy has is essentially minimum 4, probably 5 stars. Like, it's insane. Like, there's nobody this consistent in the world.
Even the tag team match with the Bucks, him and Kyle, like on a random Dynamite, like that alone is probably one of the tag matches of the year, probably the best tag match of the year.
He's that good that like every match is almost by default. You know it's going to be the match at night. It's ridiculous. I've never seen anything like this run that Ospreay's putting together. But anyway, that's it.
Realistically, in my opinion, anyway, he's had match of the year, match of the night at Revolution, at Dynasty, at Forbidden Door, at All Out. Who did he fight at Double or Nothing? Roderick Strong, that wasn't match of the night. Wrestle Dream, and so 6 pay-per-views this year. He's arguably had match of the night. That's unbelievable. Like Bryan Danielson doesn't have those kind of figures.
And it's not just match of the night. It's each of those you could say are in the conversation for match of the year. That's how good they are. It's insane. There's nothing else like it. It's eat more Nando's, everyone. Support Will Ospreay.
The cheeky Nando's kick as well, which always gets a pop out of me.
Matt, I mean, not much more to add, but I love Ospreay's, the Punisher entrance, and I don't know if you guys noticed, he no-sold the Ospreay chance in his entrance as well, so that kind of gave you like the hint that it's going to be a different tone, a different feel for this match. But it's like, god damn, you look at Fletcher, like it's kind of scary to think like you guys have said, he's 25 years old. He hasn't even touched his prime yet. Like he hasn't even scratched his prime yet. I mean, the sky is truly the limit for this guy, and it was obviously this was the right call for him to win, because like you said, if he would have lost, that would have killed all of his momentum going forward. But I mean, I think that the best spot for me for the match was I saw the replay of this when I got home last night. They were on the outside. Fletcher tried to throw Ospreay to the steel steps. Ospreay like jumps over them, like tucks and rolls over the steps, and then runs around, hits a flying head scissors takedown. The cameraman did great. It looked like a damn action movie, the work that the cameraman did. But I mean, fuck me, the tombstone off the steps, and then the brainbuster off the top rope, which just looks like fucking death. Like that's a move right there. We got to make a list one day of like moves that are not allowed to kick out of. Like that move right there, that brainbuster off the top rope, like that should be an automatic match ender right there. I'm glad it was, but yeah, man, it's just as great as this match was. Am I crazy to say that I don't even know if this cracks the top 3 matches for Ospreay?
Oh, it does. I don't think it cracks his top 5 of 2024 in AEW.
No, it was comfortably match of the night, but all the other pay-per-view matches that Mark said earlier are comfortably like by like easily like half a star, 3/4 of a star.
Yeah, Pac, the triple threat match, Swerve, Pac, Danielson, Takeshita were all, in my opinion, like quite reasonably. It was quite scary to say reasonably better than that match, and that match was that good.
Exactly. Yeah. This has been said a lot, but you know that like AEW's had a good year when even like a 5-star plus match like this feels like not insignificant, but like on a lower level than those matches you mentioned.
Yeah. We're over halfway through the card now. I mean, this is how good the card's been. We've analysed so much, and there's not really been a negative word to be said. And again, this isn't really thought of as one of AEW's top 3 pay-per-views of the year, which is pretty remarkable. The only title change last night, again, definitely the right winner. I thought it was relatively predictable he was going to get the win. The scapegoat experiment is probably over now, and it's probably for the best that we hope that he maybe goes on to join the Death Riders and does something there rather than what he's been doing. The match itself was fine. Daniel Garcia's got his first singles gold, and that's the headline of the match, and one that's well deserved from him. I'm really happy that he's now getting this moment, and I hope he brings back the open challenge for Dynamite most weeks.
Yeah, I think I like this match more than most people I've seen talking about it on social media, because it's just my style. It was quite methodical, maybe a little bit slow, but I think I like my storytelling in the ring rather than backstage or in promos. And it was, to me, was like Jack was trying to prove that Danny isn't ready, which is what he's been saying for weeks now. So it took Jack really making Danny mad. He ended up dumping rubbish on him and putting him on the table, and he was slapping him. It was really, really making him mad until finally Danny made him come back to prove that he was ready and Jack to tap out. The one I'm so thrilled for Danny, I really, really am, but I'm so mad that they're going to get rid of the gorgeous, gorgeous belt. I would have left that title on Jack forever if it just meant they would keep a beautiful title. But I'm really pleased for Danny Garcia. Love the match. Don't really know where they go with this. I feel like maybe, like you said, Jack joins Death Rider. But of course, Danny Garcia is the one that Bryan Danielson wanted right from the start. So maybe he saw something in him that could eventually take out Mox and his other teammates. But yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it. But I'll miss the belt.
I agree with that. It's a shame we're not going to have that belt anymore. I would imagine that Perry joins the Death Riders, but I don't feel comfortable commenting on this because of the situation when somebody spiked me with an umbrella and I had radiation poisoning for a week that turned out to be COVID. So I will skip that, and just because I think the David Arquette stuff has maybe put me in a bad situation. So yeah, good match.
This one felt like it might have suffered a bit, coming off the back of something as high octane as Fletcher and Ospreay with the crowd.
Yeah, I'd say in the beginning, the first half of the match, it definitely didn't suffer. Like, I don't care what match would have followed this. I think it would have suffered the same fate. I mean, but it did pick up. I'd say maybe the last 4 or 5 minutes of it, where Garcia, started his comeback, and he eventually, put the Dragon Tamer on, and when he really leaned back, the crowd got into it, and it was the right decision, right call. And you go back to how Wrestle Dream ended, with that scene with with Private Party, with Garcia, with all the young guys surrounded around Orange Cassidy. It's kind of coming, it's kind of like a prophecy in the sense, like the young talent are rising up to the occasion, and maybe this is what Moxley wanted the whole time, because remember when he started this whole Death Rider thing, like what was his main complaint? He hated that a lot of the talent, they were kind of they were stagnant. They were just happy to be there, in a sense, like no one was taking the next step. And in a way, it's in a roundabout way, Moxley's words are kind of a driving force behind a lot of the young talent, from, like I said, from Private Party to Daniel Garcia to Hook, to a bunch of other young talents stepping up their game, being more serious. So who knows? I think in the end of the day, maybe Mox is really the good guy after all. I mean,
maybe he is. Who knows? But again, the fact that we're leaving so many open angles when it comes to the Death Riders now, the fact that you could see Perry or Garcia joining them and it would make perfect sense. It's good. It's good to not have the stories being like incredibly predictable, because again, wrestling sometimes is at its best when it's the most obvious format, the most basic stories are the best ones to tell. But there's so many like open ends to this at the moment. It's quite exciting. One match that probably wasn't that exciting, if I'm being honest, it was probably my least favorite match of the night, which was maybe it's because I put too much expectation on it. But Takeshita, rather unsurprisingly, retained the international title against Ricochet. The match was added late in the week, and maybe they weren't told till late in the week either, because it definitely, again, I feel it suffered from its position on the card. I think this would have been a better opener. Again, as we discussed, like the tags coming out in 0 hour, I do get that, and it makes sense. But I feel this suffered for its place on the card anyway. And yeah, by no means a bad match. Of course it wasn't. It's Ricochet and Takeshita. But for me personally, it definitely underwhelmed.
Yeah, probably could have been a few minutes shorter. I don't think the crowd was as invested in it either. There were some really, really cool moments. I mean, some of the things that Ricochet does are just they defy belief. That it's just a fuck you to physics. That gorgeous shooting star that he did, he just seems to float in the air. Takeshi's incredibly strong as well. I absolutely love the way he just holds them before he hits the suplex. But yeah, there wasn't really a wow sequence or moment for me. But I did enjoy it. I thought it was a really good match. But yeah, maybe my least favorite on the card. I do think I'd like to see it again. I think they could do something special if they went again, maybe in the C2. But whether or not Takeshita would be in that with him being the champion, I don't know. But yeah, I don't really got much to say about this one. What, sorry?
No, so what you said there, like about seeing it again, I actually thought that I could probably benefit from actually watching this match again, because maybe there was a bit of fatigue for me at this end, because some people have said they really enjoyed this match, and again, maybe I went into it with too high an expectation, but some people have like really raved about this match, and so maybe I have done it a bit of an injustice by being a bit critical of it. So maybe, yeah, revisiting them to having a match is definitely one thing, but I probably should go back and actually watch this match again and give it a second chance.
Yeah, I think I'd like to do that. I do remember a few spots from it, but the match itself is kind of a blur because at that point I was knackered, I was ready for bed. So yeah, I think I could probably do with watching it again. I will say that Ricochet, I didn't know much about him. I didn't watch him in WWE very much, but everything I've seen, it's been like, yeah, where's this man been all my life? So maybe I was hoping for a bit more than I got. But yeah, I think I'll give it another chance, and it's definitely better than I think I'm making it sound.
No, I'd agree with what you say though. It was a good match. It wasn't as good as the other Ricochet stuff and the other Takeshita stuff. I think.
Yeah.
I think it was a mixture really of the place on the card, the fact that everyone was knackered at that point, and the fact that it just wasn't as good as the match that they're coming together as they've had before. It's. You can't unless you're Will Ospreay, you can't knock a 5-star match out every night, can you? So whatever. I'm sure these will be better next time.
But that's the one thing that, again, I do think the AEW in 2024 have paced their pay-per-views perfectly. I think last night, while it wasn't badly paced, I don't think it was perfect. Again, that comes from, we're so used to stipulations being like 2 or 3 just to break up the pacing of it, and again having like more like just a more relaxed match, like when you get a Jericho match or you would get like a Full Turn Anywhere random 3-on-3 match just to break up the pacing a bit. We didn't get that yesterday, and this is the match that I think suffered because of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. The perfect example I always go back to was when they had QT Big Show, and everyone was moaning like, "Why is that even on the card?" And it was just, it was perfect. It was a perfect match just to take a bit, a little bit of time, allow everyone to recharge and go again. And we didn't have one of them, and unfortunately, I don't know. It's just the way it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I feel like a good match, yeah, but I don't know. I feel the pacing was a lot slower than I expected. I don't know. It picked up, I'd say, the second half of the match. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, it was a good match, but yeah, I don't know. The pacing threw me off a little bit. I figured it would have been a more up-tempo style, especially with Ricochet in there. But was it bad? No, it was good. Good for what it was. But I mean, damn, that just tells you how stacked the card was when you could possibly say this might have been the worst match on the card, but still, it was good.
And yeah, it was, again, I'd like to see them get a chance to right this perceived wrong down the line, because again, they were both they weren't just bystanders in the triple threat match with Ospreay at Wrestle Dream. They were massive parts of that being, well, the best triple threat match I've seen, if I'm being honest. And yeah, I'd like to think sooner rather than later they'll get another chance to probably maybe, I don't know, headline a Dynamite or meet in the C2 or something where they can really kind of go for it instead of being thrown on 48 hours before bell time and told to go and do their stuff. So
Sure,
2 matches left. This one, again, really good match. This probably kind of the kind of match I anticipated. Again, quite an obvious winner. But I think the match probably delivered a bit more than I thought. Bobby Lashley wins his first proper, let's say, AEW match, beating former world champ Swerve Strickland. Again, Swerve can take defeats, and Lashley was obviously going to get the win here. And it'll be interesting to see what direction they both go from here.
Yeah, it sounded to me watching at home that the crowd sort of woke up a little bit for this match. There was a bit more chanting, a bit more involvement. At the beginning, I I was a little bit wary. I thought, oh God, are they going to do a squash? Are they going to have him squash Swerve? Because Lashley just seemed so dominant. But I'm really glad that they didn't do that. I love the finish. That Hurt Lock, it looks completely devastating. And the fact that he put it on Nana as well, yeah, it was absolutely the right call. And he walked out of there looking completely unbeatable. I haven't really got much to say about it. I was just watching it with my mouth hanging open. Like, God, this guy is devastating.
Yeah, just the same, really. I mean, I know we've been going a long time now, so I'll just echo what Lucy said. It was a great match. Really, really impressive, Bobby Lashley. I didn't expect to be. I wasn't as big a fan of him in WWE, but and it's not an anti-WWE thing. It's just some of these guys. It's almost like the shackles are off a bit when they go elsewhere and they can express themselves a bit more and do things that they've maybe been advised against or not been allowed to do.
Definitely that. They're under such strict instructions. You're the big beefy boy here. You fight this way. This is how you fight. The shackles off. He's a good wrestler. And there was a couple of times he had a match with Drew McIntyre that I remember thinking, it was just a meat madness kind of match. It was really good. You know he's got it in his locker, but I just feel that, like a lot of people, he's just kind of told to rein it in a lot for the style over there. And he was let loose here. The Swerve stomp on the table as well was a beautiful visual. That was really good.
Great, man. It's happened with a few of the guys though, where they've been, the rumors have been that they AEW banned, and I'm like, oh man, I'm not sure, I don't want to see this, and they've come and proved me wrong. I was the same on Edge, I was the same on Shelton Benjamin, and it looks like I'm going to be the same on Bobby Lashley if he carries on like that.
I think this stable needs a young spearhead, the guy they're going to push towards titles, because Lashley, Shelton, and MVP are all flirting with 50 or over 50. Yeah. So I don't want to see them personally lifting anything more than tags for Trios Gold.
Leo Rush.
No, Will Hobbs. Powerhouse.
Yeah, Hobbs.
I don't want Hobbs to. I don't want Hobbs to just be like in the background there. I think I want to see him do something more prominent now rather than.
Powerhouse Hobbs in the background. You can't hide that dude. I mean, I'm talking about more of an instance with Powerhouse Hobbs with the Hurt Syndicate, and like just the perfect. How do you say? You have MVP as your mouthpiece, and who better for a guy like Hobbs to be under the wing of than like Bobby Lashley in a sense. I mean, I think that would just be a perfect fit in my opinion. But I mean, in regards to the match real quick, I think Lucy had said like, there's a lot of chanting in the crowd, and trust me, like you gotta give props to MVP during this match, because he, first it was small at first, but MVP was leading the crowd chants like, like we hurt people. We heard people like that's what you were hearing on your TV feed for, like, I'd say like a good quarter or maybe even half the match. The crowd was chanting, but as far as you said, like, Lashley's just another example, like another WWE guy coming over here, and the restrictions are taken off. Like, he came to work last night. I mean, he is a good wrestler, and it's just crazy that he's pushing 50, but he still looks like he's moving around like he just debuted on Friday Night SmackDown in a sense. But it shouldn't be too much of a surprise. I mean, but that spot where he speared Swerve through the barricade, and then
yes,
that was fucking nasty. And then taking that stomp on the table. But like Lucy said, that hurt lock, like, look, shit, tight as fuck, and it was a great pop that he put it on. He put it on Nana as well. I think that was a good way to close out that segment.
Before we go on to the main event, I just want to shout out Swerve again, because while Will Ospreay's had I don't think you can argue the match catalogue. He's wrestler of the year for the match catalogue. For the overall package, is Swerve Strickland for me, because his match catalogue to start is fucking brilliant. His title reign was great. Everything about him this year just has been absolutely perfect. No matter who he's worked with, he's made it work. From everything he's done with Hangman throughout the year, from his feud with Joe, winning the title, his mini feud with Ospreay, everything he did with Danielson, the way he can bounce between being the good guy or the heel in every single scenario that he's in, coming into this thing with Lashley and making Lashley look like an absolute beast off the off. Like, 2024 has been a year for Swerve that said, like, he's a proper superstar now.
He looks like a star as well, doesn't he?
Everything about him's a star. Like, I love the dude.
He's really kind of like, if you look at him when he first came to AEW and look at him now, It's like looking at two different people. The amount of work that fella's put in is unreal, and he deserves everything he's getting.
And it's not even just he's worked on his physique and got a lot more muscle. It's everything about the way he's worked on his own presentation, just the swagger that he's got, like the way he brings himself to every single time he's on screen now. It's gone from I remember I haven't got Twitter now, but I tweeted last October 2023, he'll be world champion within a year. And I said it through hope more than expectations. I'm like, they could strap this guy up and he could really take off. But again, you never know it's going to happen. It's always great when it does, but you just never know. Injuries, just one bad match, someone else suddenly gets that little bit of a push. But he's taken this opportunity and he's made himself like one of the absolute faces of this company now. And he doesn't need to be in the title scene to feel like he's a really big deal now. Other people need to be in that position. He doesn't now. No matter what he does, it's going to feel important. You know the match is going to bang. You know the promos are going to bang. Everything about it is going to be great. And yeah, he's, again, while Ospreay's match catalogue's better, Swerve's my wrestler of the year for 2024.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll discuss wrestlers of the year. I don't think it'll be too
in depth. So right, wrapping up finally, and a lot to unpack in this main event. It was really good. It was always going to be really good. It's Jon Moxley against Orange Cassidy. Again, unsurprisingly, we had a title retention here. There was a lot to unpack after the match. The match itself was bloody and brilliant, and yeah, it was a callback. It was reminiscent of their All Out 2023 match in terms of the tempo, the brutality, and just the crowd getting behind Orange Cassidy. So yeah, good shit and very interesting post match.
Absolutely. The match itself, I loved the beginning when Orange just went straight in for the punches. It just showed that he understood what was at stake, what he was fighting for, and when he lost, it just made it seem like such a big deal. Him bleeding first as well, that visual. I'm gonna jump to the end because you lot are gonna have a lot to say about all the boys. So can I just talk about Willow? Willow
she's amazing.
We were all, that was one of the moments of that thing. I was so thrilled. I was waiting, expecting some sort of return. Never expected it to be Willow. But that she's come back now, it means they've got someone to go up against, Marina Shafir, which is just what you absolutely desperately needed. So yeah, I know you lot are going to have a lot to say about the boys, so I just wanted to talk about Willow, which for me was one of the best moments.
The crowd response means that you're definitely not alone in that sentiment, thinking that with her. She got the reaction of a superstar because that's what she is now. She's amazing, and yeah, it was who's going to come down. And I was very, very happy to see Willow come down. Didn't see it coming, made it all the better. But yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely thrilled with that. I love the whole thing. The ending, people seem to be confusing. They're either lying or they weren't paying attention. It was just Christian standing there with the Hangman with the briefcase. Can I have the first title shot? Yeah, you can have a first title shot. Okay, I'll be helpful. It was as simple as that. Yeah, absolutely loved it.
I hate the Money in the Bank stuff. I really fucking hate that. But Hangman coming down and seeing the fear in Jon Moxley's eyes when Hangman come down, that shows that he doesn't. He's the one man Moxley does not want a piece of, and it was great. And then Christian coming and hitting that and not getting the pin was great because I hate the Money in the Bank finishes. I don't want one of them. The Hangman. The thing is after that as well. Obviously the Jay White stuff as well playing into. I think we get Jay White Christian coming out of this. Obviously Christian in the past has hinted that he wants Colton Gunn as to join his family. Maybe we get Billy Gunn once he's had the shit beaten out of him by the Acclaimed, having to talk to his sons and get them to stick together or something. Hopefully they make the save, and there's so much coming out of this. I'll just end up talking forever about this. But Hangman, after all this, Hangman as he's walking back up the ramp, the look of what the fuck have I just done? Why have I just done this on his face? There's so much going on in that look, and I don't think many other people can do that. With just one, it's incredible. And he comes across as a man conflicted, and it's excellent. It's so compelling, because he's just done all that, and he doesn't know why he's done it. It's just the rage taking over him. It's why have I just done that? And I do think this is going to play into when Kenny can say to him, "What the fuck are you doing?" Yeah, brilliant. I loved it. The Willow stuff, you're not the only one who would have wanted to talk about Willow. She's phenomenal. She's the biggest baby face in the women's division and push her to the moon. And yeah, coming back and making the save was excellent. And I'm sure everyone's aware that what we all want, or at least what I want, and I'm going to pretend everyone else wants for Christmas, is Orange Cassidy to come back at the next pay-per-view and give us our Hulk Hogan 1996 moment. Come down in a leather jacket. Looks like he's going to make the save. Give us Nigel saying, yeah, but whose side is he on? And Orange Cassidy hits the orange punch on Darby Allin. Let's go.
I mean, I think that's happening. I want it to happen. I think it's going to happen. And I'll be incredibly disappointed. And I will disown AEW if it doesn't happen. Very quickly before you step in, Brett, there's one thing that I wanted to add. I don't think Christian is necessarily the one that cashes this contract in. We don't has he signed it yet? The way that, because wasn't there a little bit of a back and forth with holding it with him and Jay White? Like,
that's a good shout.
That someone else could yank this out, sign it, and make the pin.
That's a good shout, that, yeah.
Ooh.
Didn't even think about that.
Otherwise, why would Hangman have a bit of back and forth trying to get it off him? Someone mentioned it before. I'm sure it was on a few episodes. Well, probably near the start. I think someone alluded to this. I don't know if he's actually signed it. If he's going to be the one that cashes it in, because I don't think they're going to put the title on him, and I don't think that this is just going to go away. I think that contract will lead to a world champion at some point. I just don't think it will be Christian Cage.
Hope it's not a fucking. Sorry, but before you go, Brett, I just want to say I hope it's not a Money in the Bank thing. I really hope someone takes it off him and signs it for an event rather than sign it for right now. I don't like Money in the Bank. Sorry, Brett, go on.
No, here's what's gonna happen. So next month, World's End, it'll be the same situation. Whoever Mox is facing for the world title, Christian will come down. He'll sign the contract himself. The bell will ring, and right before the match starts, we hear, "You think you know him?" Edge Copeland will come back and screw Christian out of winning the title.
And again, that reads into last year when Christian signed the contract the Luchasaurus had to beat Copeland for the TNT title.
Before we that doesn't happen.
Well, I know what I can tell me if this is right, Lucy. I think this is what you think is going to happen or want to happen. Christian comes down with a contract. He opens it. Brandon Cutler hits him from behind, gets the pen, and then we have Brandon Cutler as the world. That's happening, isn't it?
That is all I want in the entire world. You will hear my screams in the arena wherever I am. If you're sitting on my sofa, you'll still fucking hear it because it is time that my boy got the respect that he deserves. So is this the point where we spend an hour talking about how great Brandon is? So that's the reason I'm here. That's how you got me here. Yeah, that's what I would love, but alas, it will have to just be in my dreams and my fantasy book.
So yes, anyone else have anything to add on the main event? What direction do we go in from here? Like who's like Darby's in the title scene, Jay White's in the title scene, Christian's in the title scene. I'm missing someone else. There's people in the title scene left, right, and center. We don't know which way it's going, and that's nothing but good. Like going into Wednesday, I'm genuinely thinking like, what the fuck is going to happen? Like, what direction do we go in? We've got the C2 starting, and we have an ending that was just pure chaos, and that's what you want. Like, you're going into Wednesday thinking this could go any which way, and I mean that's what you want from your TV.
And on top of
we don't even mention Darby crashing a car.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say so real quick, like for the live perspective there. After the match ended, the crowd starts to leave. They started leaving after the whole Jay White and Hangman bit after the match. And they started leaving because rightfully, I think everyone thought that was the end of the show. But then on the big screen, we see the Death Riders, running out of the arena, look like they're about to jump in their truck, and then holy shit, that fucking car came to. Ran into the truck, and they got another car left, and to see fucking Darby Allin, like holy shit, like, and now we find out that no, there was no stunt driver, it was all Darby. I'm like, yeah, that tracks. Of course Darby would drive 100 miles per hour to hit a truck, like, and just get out and be like pretty much unscathed. But if that's not foreshadowing right there that it's gonna be eventually Darby down the line who takes the belt off of Mox, then I don't know what is. What's funny is that after the pay-per-view, you know, where we're all leaving, going to the street. Like I recognized the area where they did, because that's where I entered to go up to the VIP suite I was in, and you know, so many people were down there like looking, you know, to find the car crash, but I guess they already removed it and everything. But yeah, that was fucking crazy there.
Bro, I'm with you. I think Darby is the one that dethrones Mox. But again, I don't think Mox loses this title for quite a long time. I don't think we actually see the AEW World Title on TV potentially until next summer. I just don't think he's losing it. I think he will face Darby at World's End, and Orange Cassidy will cost him. I think Darby will disappear for a bit. He'll go and climb his mountains, hopefully stay alive. Then he'll come back and be a savior to be on the other side after, again. I think the Death Riders will go through everyone they're going through now. I think they'll then go through the Elite, and I think they'll destroy the Elite. And that's when I think you get the super group of Danielson, Swerve, Hangman, a returning Darby Allin, potentially Eddie Kingston, maybe Wheeler Yuta switches sides because he gets pushed out when there's another couple of members. And that's when I think it happens. I think that Darby Allin will win the world title next year in Texas off of Moxley. I think Moxley will hold it till then.
I think based on my the predictions of Orange turning heel, I think we get a match we haven't had before, which is Orange Derby. I think we get that in a couple of pay-per-views as well.
That'd be great, yeah.
That'd be a great main event.
Orange Cassidy in that match against Derby would be great.
Oh, that'd be a great main event. And you could even use that as a Death Riders backing up Orange at this point, and Sting making one of his contracted appearances. And it's what's so scary about all these stories that we've got, and the potential is the fact that Kenny Omega is wrestling in
5 weeks.
Yeah, 5 weeks, whatever. 6 weeks, it's insane. It's fucking insane.
Are we going to see him on AEW TV before then?
I think so. I think we will. I think we will.
Yeah.
I think maybe. I think maybe World's End. Or at least, look, if it's not World's End, it's going to be on the first Dynamite on Max, isn't it? The simulcast, the first.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes good sense.
Has to be.
Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah, Fight for the Fallen, isn't it? Yeah.
I think because his first match has been announced. I think again for a rating spot, I think you advertise if Omega's not returning on pay-per-view. If he's returning on TV, I think it's announced beforehand that he's returning.
Yeah, or you hint one, finish off a Dynamite with Kenny saying I'm going to be there next week or something, hype it up. Yeah, it's it's fucking Kenny Omega, for God's sake.
The thing is, they've produced what they've produced. I know a lot of people are critical because people tend to be assholes and they enjoy misery and they enjoy miserable people enjoying their misery with them. But they've produced what they've produced in the last couple of months with no Omega, with no Danielson again now, with a very limited MJF being around. They've been missing people like Eddie Kingston. He's always a fan favorite in AEW. A lot of people might not like him, but to the AEW crowd, he's a hero. Everyone loves Eddie Kingston. They've been blighted at the top of their card for quite some time, and they're still producing what they've been producing, especially on pay-per-view. And again, last night it wasn't the best pay-per-view of the year, but it was still really fucking good.
Yeah. I still think that that title's still reserved for a Revolution, in my opinion. But I mean, listen, what would you guys rate this show from a scale of 1 to 10? I would say I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10.
I was torn between a 7.5 and an 8 last night, and I went with a 7.5 simply because I get accused of being too positive sometimes, and that played in my mind. I thought, I'm not sure. I'll go for the lower one here for once. But between a 7.5 and an 8, which again is very, very good. It was a really good show. For me, it was just missing a couple of things. It was missing a stipulation match. Again, I think Jay White and Hangman should have been some kind of hardcore stipulation. And I think it was missing a bit of a storyline progression down the card. We obviously got it at the end of the show. I feel one other match could have benefited from something happening that's probably going to end up happening on Dynamite in the coming weeks. I think that would have made it feel like a more full show, considering it was just a run of 8 successive singles matches. I just thought it missed a couple little additions, a little bit of sprinkling of magic on top to make it that bit more special.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. For me, I similar to Mark did. I had it as a 7.58 roughly in between that, and then I rewatched a couple of the matches this morning that I was probably a little bit lower on, and they were actually, it kind of a lot better than I remembered. Like, it must have been half asleep or something.
What
So
matches in particular would any of you?
It would,
apart from the obvious the main three matches. I would say the main event, Stat, Mercedes, and Ospreay, Fletcher. What matches would? Because I'm going to be sat on a plane tomorrow. Wouldn't mind watching something about what match. If you all give me one match apart from those to watch again, what would you suggest?
the MJF match again. I rewatched that. I had that as quite low initially, and I rewatched it this morning. It was fucking brilliant. It was a lot better than I remembered. And also the TNT match.
Yeah, the TNT for me as well. Absolutely.
TNT, right? I'm definitely going to stick that on then.
Just for knowing what they were doing right from the start, watching it, knowing that it was just Jack having to poke at Danny the whole time. You know, you're not ready until Danny finally showed that he was ready.
Right. I'll give that a watch tomorrow then. Has anyone got any last final words, or just some final words on last night before we head off into the sunset?
Yeah. Real quick, whenever they announce the lineups for the C2 for the Continental Classic, if Big AJ's not on there, I ain't watching. I ain't watching.
The Riz, get the Riz on there, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, my last words is we haven't covered it because it wasn't a match, but I just want to say how absolutely beautiful that kick from Mina Shirakawa was when she took the bottle right out of Mariah's hand. That was gorgeous. One of my favourite.
We didn't talk. Did we? Yeah, fuck. So that means we're getting Mina and Mariah at the next pay-per-view, definitely.
And that's when Tony Storm will return then.
Yeah.
That was good shit as well. So yeah, again, it was. Again, when you unpack the pay-per-view, you think, this actually was pretty fucking good. AEW standards are so like unprecedented levels of exceptional this year that, yeah, at the end of the day, they're probably going to be their own worst enemies when it comes to perception, I suppose. But yeah, good shit again. And yeah, 5 weeks until World's End, and we've got our winter is coming in between then, the C2. So it's an exciting time to be an AEW fan, as it pretty much always is. And on that note, I think we will wrap this up as we've gone long. I hope you've all enjoyed our ramblings about another successful AEW pay-per-view. Lucy, it's been great having you on for your debut appearance, and no doubt we'll be hearing you again sooner rather than later. And I hope we've not bored you too much with our long ramblings and rants.
Not at all. I've had the best time. I was so nervous. I've tried to not be too silly or sassy, so try to be
good stuff.
Yeah. But no, I've had a great time. I was very nervous.
And Brett, I'm assuming you're probably fucking knackered as you were at the show till late last night, so we'll let you get some rest ahead of the week. And on that note, I hope everyone has a good week and enjoy Dynamite and the C2 starting this week. And I will see you in a couple of weeks. I'm away next week. And yeah, have a good one, everyone. Peace out.
Take it easy.
Thanks. Bye.